Today we're going to dive into an ancient story with a message that is so relevant right now. It's called The Brother Who Wouldn't Listen. Have you ever been there? I mean, it's so frustrating, right? You're trying so hard to help someone you care about. You give them advice, you try to point them in the right direction, and it's like talking to a brick wall. It feels like you just wasted all that energy. But what if that effort wasn't wasted at all?
All right, so let's get into the story. It starts with two brothers, and even though they lived under the same roof, when it came to how they saw the world, well, they couldn't have been further apart.
I mean, the difference between these two was like night and day. You've got one brother who's deeply spiritual, just totally committed to his practice and his beliefs. And then you have the other brother. He was a total skeptic, always questioning, always arguing, following his own thing. So you can imagine what happened, right? The faithful brother would try to share what he'd learned, and it would just turn into a huge argument every single time. Eventually, all that fighting just got to be too much. Every time the faithful brother tried to help, it just seemed to push his skeptical brother further away. So, in the end, they made a tough call. They decided they just had to live apart. It's kind of sad, but it felt like the only way to stop the constant conflict.
Okay, so now that the brothers are living apart, the story zooms in on the faithful brother, and for him, things changed. He could finally focus on his practice with all that constant noise and negativity.
And his journey was pretty incredible. He just kept at it year after year with total dedication. After a long life, he passed on. And because of all his good deeds, he was reborn in a heavenly place. But that's not even the end of it. From there, he actually got to learn directly from a Buddha and reached true enlightenment. I mean, it sounds like the perfect ending, right? A storybook reward for a faithful life.
So you'd think the story's over, right? Good guy lives a good life, gets the ultimate reward, case closed. But this is where things get really interesting. Because there's this big unanswered question hanging in the air. The faithful brother's story seems so complete, a straight shot to enlightenment. So why did we even hear about the difficult brother in the first place?
If this is all about the faithful brother's success, why even mention the part where he failed to help his sibling? What was the point of that? Well, that's the key to the whole story.
And to figure that out, we have to look at the real engine driving this story. It all comes down to the power of good intentions and this little thing called karma.
You know, we often think of karma as what goes around comes around, but it's actually a bit deeper than that. The real magic, the part that truly matters, is your intention. See, whether the skeptical brother actually listened or not, well, that was up to him. That was his own journey, his own karma. The reward for the faithful brother wasn't tied to the outcome, it was tied to the purity of his intention to help.
And here's the cool part. When you offer help with a genuinely good heart, something changes inside you. Just the act of trying, of showing that compassion, it makes your own faith, your own character stronger. And that inner growth, that is the real reward. It's something you get instantly, and it doesn't matter one bit how the other person responds.
Okay, and this leads us to the final twist. And it's a beautiful one. It's this unexpected ripple effect that's going to make us see that skeptical brother in a whole new light.
It turns out the skeptical brother's resistance, it wasn't a failure for the faithful brother at all. It was a challenge. And that challenge was exactly what he needed to deepen his own practice. The brother wasn't an obstacle, he was an opportunity.
I mean, think about it, right? It's pretty easy to be kind to someone who's nice and says thank you. But trying to stay compassionate when someone is arguing with you, resisting you at every turn, wow, that takes some serious inner strength. So in a way, the skeptical brother was like the perfect spiritual workout partner. He gave his faithful brother the chance to develop rock-solid patience and kindness. And here's where it all connects. Because the skeptical brother was the reason for all this extra effort and compassion. A special connection was formed between them. All that positive energy the faithful brother sent his way, it's like it planted a tiny seed. Now that seed might not grow right away, but the story tells us that one day it will, and the skeptical brother will get to benefit from it too. So let's bring this all together. What does this ancient story really teach us about our own lives? About those moments we feel like our efforts are going nowhere? Well, here are the big ones. First, your reward is in the trying, not in the outcome. Second, when you face that resistance, it's actually making you stronger. Third, those good intentions you put out there, they're never, ever wasted. They're like seeds for the future. And maybe the biggest lesson of all, helping others always starts by helping yourself.
So the next time you're in that situation, trying to help someone who just isn't listening, think back to this story. Remember the two brothers, and know that your effort is never, ever wasted. You're building your own strength, walking your own positive path, and creating ripples of kindness that will find their way, eventually.